All right, let's talk about Gods of Egypt, which I kept whenever I would type the name out, whether it's IMDb or for my notes or whatever, I kept typing City of God. Not the same thing. I don't know, just the word God in
Very,
there, just
very different.
very different movies and topic and quality just lead into
Whoa,
that.
That's just your opinion, man.
Okay, well, I
that's
can't wait to hear what
just
you
your,
say about it then.
opinion, man.
Um, it was directed by Alex Proyas, who is Greek parents, so shout out Maria, but was born in Egypt. And I'm going to say right now that is the closest connection to anyone in this movie being Egyptian at all. But we'll get to that, I'm sure. Film had a budget of $140 million, and at the box office, it grossed $150 million worldwide. You might be saying, oh, it did a little bit more than it cost. That's not bad, but that's without marketing. Normally, you'd say double the budget, and that's the marketing cost. Still lost money. And as a comparison,
90 million.
was that
$90 million is how much it lost.
if you no, there you go.
Thanks, engineer.
Not bad, not bad. And just for comparison, so 2008's Iron Man had the same exact budget of 140 million, but the box office was 585 million dollars. So a little bit of a difference there.
That's not that much better.
It was not. This movie was nominated for some awards, though. It was nominated. It was nominated for Worst Picture, Worst Director, Worst Screenplay, Worst Screen Duo. And it said the nominee was anytime there were two Egyptian gods or mortals on the screen at the same time. So I guess it's just everyone in this movie. And worst director, Gerard Butler, which is kind of funny to me because honestly, I think he's the one out of any of them who kind of maybe tried. Like, I don't know. Like, Gerard Butler actually, like, put forward, like, even if it was cliche, he was the most convincing character to me. And then just to give you an idea on how good this movie is, it's a 5.4 on IMDb, 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. So yeah, this fucking movie takes place in ancient Egypt, but it gives it an upgrade in the form of classic sci-fi technology, flying vehicles, and gods that transform into metal armored
The flying
creatures.
vehicles are flown by birds. They accounted for the time.
They also had beetles. Flying beetles.
They did have beetles. They didn't explain that one.
Okay, yeah. Fair, yep.
Giant beetles, we should say, too. Like the terrifying beetles at the Milwaukee Public Museum on steroids size beetles.
So yeah, the last thing I just wanted to say is an intro. This movie felt to me. Have you ever seen Stargate? Like the movie, not the show, the original Stargate? Okay. So this movie felt like that, but with a mixture of the new Clash of the Titans movies to me. The first thing I wanted to talk, what did you guys think of the mixture of ancient Egypt with futuristic technology? How did that play with you guys?
This movie's not supposed to be incredible tearjerker. It's a freaking summer blockbuster. What do you want from it? It is what it is, and it's entertaining. You're never like, oh, this is shit, I'm going to turn it off. And I didn't even notice. I honestly didn't even notice the sci-fi shit. I was like, oh, they're gods. They do crazy stuff.
Yeah, I was going through that same moment, like you just said in the last point in Quinn. Like, there was a moment in this movie where I was like, I mean, it's over the top, but how do you make a movie regarding gods is like not over the top?
When they transformed, I'm like, oh, it's going to be that kind of movie. All right, I guess I'm just going with it.
You're on for the ride at that point. You realize it.
Yeah, you just strap in, baby. If you don't want to get out of the ride, just get off. You paid the ticket, ride it or get off. No one's making you.
They give you 3 minutes, and then you're like, this is a very beautiful set. Like, everything looks really cool. And, like, if this is reality, and I'm sure this is obviously nothing like ancient Egypt, but if this is what it's like, I'm going to pretend like this is what it's like. And then it's like, death machines. They just evolve into death machines, and it's like
Transformers.
we were going straight, and now we just took a sharp left, and we got to figure out.
Yeah, it got weird real quick. I was like, oh, sand toga and sand epic, and then I'm like, nope, freaking mission, Egyptian Optimus Prime.
Yeah, it was definitely getting Transformer vibe. I mean, obviously when they
didn't even explain that they could transform in the opening voiceover. Like it was like, well, the gods live amongst humans, and they can transform into weird shit.
And you got the idea.
Why was it only 2 gods could transform?
I think
the other ones didn't transform.
There was other ones.
They could. I think there were others that could, but
there was the one that they showed transform into the. He was the original guy that went out to go fight or go find Horus and.
Oh.
Back.
It was Gerard Butler's like right-hand man.
Yeah, and he never transferred
like the
back.
Minotaur looking thing
the whole time.
Yeah,
he never transferred back, but they showed him right after that. They showed him transferring into that character, and then they never showed him as a normal person. And that's like kind of one of the things I didn't get. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself or of us, but like I know that they would all of a sudden change when they were fighting, but like why not change at the beginning of the fight? Why was it all of a sudden like, okay, now I'm going to be really
They didn't explain the transformations. They didn't explain the transformations at all. It was just like, and we're transforming.
It was something cool, right? Like it was like you said, summer
CGI was pretty good. I wasn't hating on the CGI.
There were a couple times where I didn't think it looked great, but it wasn't the worst I've seen overall. I thought it was weird. Like, how'd you feel? So the gods are like 9 feet tall compared to normal people.
That was a little weird.
What was that, Bo?
I was gonna say, I think they're even bigger than 9 feet tall.
Like twice as big as the humans.
Tall, yeah.
Yeah, which I get. Like they're gods. Okay, they're gonna be a little different. But what made it?
How do they do this?
What made it? Quinn doing the good old.
This is a podcast.
Finger in the circle move there.
It's literally like the
donut and hot dog in the donut
takes over. He's having sex with mortals. It's like, all right.
Was he though?
They can do that.
I don't know. Maybe he was, but I don't know if he was. He's banging the goddess of love for all I know. But,
Hathor.
Yeah. But I thought it was kind of weird they went that route because that just means you have more CGI on the screen. Like whenever Jamie Lannister. There wasn't like
any point in this movie that there wasn't a CGI. It was like CGI set piece to CGI set piece to CGI set piece.
Yeah, which
dialogue, CGI set piece.
Which normally it's less is better. And again, this is a movie where I don't think that matters too much.
No, this movie was all more is better, and then on more we do more, and then more will come on top of more.
Yeah, so it was interesting.
Of extra.
Yeah, they went extra on things that I don't think they really needed to do, but just to try to make it look cool. So you said it felt like I think it was like Lawrence of Arabia, right? Like kind of like a desert epic is like what you were thinking it was going to be.
Not quite like Lawrence of Arabia.
But I just bring that movie up specifically because the director apparently had a vision for like an idea for this movie. So he said when he was brought on to make this movie, he sought to make a big budget film with an original premise. So he said
he's not wrong.
Yeah.
No, I've never seen anything like it. So he's on track there at least.
He cited the following films as influences for this one. That's The Guns of Navarone, Lawrence of Arabia, The Man Who Would Be King, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then the spaghetti westerns. And you know what all of those movies have in common? Not having giant CGI futuristic weapons and technology in them.
Yeah, but what was the budget again? What are you going to spend all the money on?
Well, apparently this kind of segues into the next thing I kind of want to talk about, the actors. How did they get? There's a lot of actors that I recognize in this movie, and I have no idea how they got them to agree to it.
It's the same thing as they probably just got boner dogs from Part of My Take. They just started asking people like, we'll pay you money. We got enough big names already. And someone's like, oh, you got Gerard Butler, you got like Brenton Thwaites. Like, I'm in. Forget it. We're good to go.
Or is it a case of where they sign on to do like a 3-movie deal with Lionsgate, and this was one of them?
Well, yeah, maybe, but like you say, 3-movie.
300, isn't that a Lionsgate movie?
I don't think so. That was Zack Snyder, so I think it was Warner Brothers because he only makes Warner Brothers movies. But it's funny you say franchise because the director, he intended this to be like a Transformers type franchise. Like what was that?
I was just saying, what? Like, what are they gonna do? Like Roman gods next, and then like Norse gods?
Like the Transformers movies, they keep making those. Those are shit. I watched the second one, barely made it through it.
Yeah,
I could watch another one of these movies. I could easily watch another one of these movies. It's freaking entertaining.
It's funny. So here's actually kind of what I know I keep quoting the director, but he said, the world of Gods of Egypt never really existed. It is inspired by Egyptian mythology, but it makes no attempt at historical accuracy. No shit, Sherlock. Because that would be pointless. None of the events in this movie ever really happened. It is about as reality based as Star Wars, which is not real at all. Maybe one day I get to make further chapters. If I get to make further chapters, I'll reveal the context of the when and where of the story. But one thing is for sure, it's not set in ancient Egypt at all. So I think it's probably a good idea to lay out context of when and where in the first movie of any, even if you intend this to be a franchise.
Franchise is like, what's your background?
Yeah, like
origin story.
I just think that's really ballsy of him to just make this movie with the like idea that he is probably going to get a franchise and he'll have other movies to explain it. I just think it's really ballsy on him. So I don't know. I think that's the big problem with this movie for me. You just get so much thrown at you without anything really being explained or planned out.
Summer blockbuster, man. That's what you do.
I don't think summer blockbuster means you can do whatever you want. It turns out as a
Michael
mess.
Bay's been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah, but his movies at least make money. Like this movie,
but why?
They make $1 billion.
This is a great point. Why do some movies make a ton of money? They suck. Transformer franchise. But then movies like this, I thought it was entertaining. Yeah, it's not great.
I think, Transformers, I know we keep bringing that one up, but Transformers at least is built on, the first movie is good.
The first movie is good.
And it has comics and toys and TV shows of years and years and years of background to give you an idea.
No, based off of
that, and there's
already established.
Nostalgic to us and like yet still relevant to young kids.
That and the TV shows and movies lay out context and like an idea of like what story you're gonna get.
Dude, you have thousands of years of hieroglyphics that outline all of this for you. I don't understand the problem is.
Matt. History? Are you saying history doesn't matter now?
Yeah.
Well, this doesn't take place in ancient Egypt, according to the director.
Hey, why don't you go read some papyrus or something?
Oh, man. But back to my original point. So these are some of the actors in this movie, which I still can't believe they got all these people in. Gerard Butler, I get. Like, he's been kind of on the downcline making shitty movies for a while, so I kind of get him being it.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Did I offend the Gerard Butler, fan club here?
He has nice eyes.
Okay, Bo.
Dude, he has the same accent for every character he's ever played, and he pulls it off.
Yeah, he pulls off that Egyptian accent really well in this movie.
We'll come back with
they got a guy with a beard, and so therefore they're like, he looks like he might be able to fit in.
Yes.
Okay, we can come back to the whole whitewashing thing.
I was gonna get to that. So Gerard Butler's in this. I kind of get that, whatever. But Chadwick Boseman, this technically came out before his first movie as Black Panther, but it was still after he was in like Draft Day and 42 as Jackie Robinson. So I mean, he was
Draft Day, classic.
You have Jeffrey Rush in this, who's an Academy Award winner. Like, what are you doing, man? Why are you in this movie?
It's gotta be fun. He gets to play the sun god.
He's already in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. I don't know why I felt like he had to be in this.
Money.
They just told him like you get to be Ra, and
you get to be the god who on a daily basis fights off a giant space worm from eating Earth.
That was the most. Whatever. Just keep going with your point because we'll get to it.
And then the last one I had. So I can't pronounce his Jamie Lannister, right? Like I kind of get why he would do this. Like he's trying to transition from TV to film, but like this is in the middle of the Game of Thrones run, so still kind of crazy that they got him. But yeah, that kind of leads it like what you brought up, I think, Quinn. This movie, which probably didn't help its box office performance, got destroyed for whitewashing. I mean, all these actors, British, Scottish, Australian.
Who's that? I mean, obviously she's still white-ish, but the only person I was thinking about that kind of maybe looked like she could be a little like is Hathor. I actually don't know her name. Elodie Young, which that makes me think her last name Young, Young, is Cambodian and French descent. So we got somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's pretty close to Egypt. Yeah.
She's at least not like totally white.
Yeah, I know.
She's the only one that did it. Like she actually looked like she could have been from maybe some other part of the world other than like Western culture.
Yeah. And I will say like it doesn't really have anything to do with like her casting, but her character is one of the better ones, I think. She actually like progresses as a character and shows sympathy.
There's an arc.
Yeah, like there seems to be somewhat of an arc there versus like, Set, who's just angry and pissed off all the time, and even Jamie Lannister's character is kind of just an asshole the whole time until the very end, but whatever.
And he's like, I'm a god, I'm wind power.
Yeah. But were you guys bothered at all or notice like, oh, it's a bunch of whitewash?
The whole whitewashing topic and casting does not bother me one bit because it's called acting. I don't give a shit. Are you going to cast, okay, it's a freaking animated film about lions. Are you not, do they all have to be lions from Africa? It doesn't matter.
Well, lions aren't a race of people.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. That's the same kind of thing. It does not matter. It's acting. So if you have, well, you can't make these movies anymore.
You can't act a race, though.
Handicapped people, those used to be really popular. Those are always Oscar nominations.
What an assumption.
Can
you act as a race.
You can't make those. No one can act as a handicapped person anymore. It has to be a handicapped person. Or if there's a trans role, it has to be a trans. It's acting. You're acting. You're making up. You're make-believe. Who cares? Stop caring. Stop doing stupid shit because you have.
So you want more blackface in Hollywood?
Yeah. Now you can't change the color of your skin.
That's what this is, though. That's what we're talking about.
They definitely don't look.
We're talking about an area of people.
That's called that's your race. Like what?
I feel like
race. Egyptian isn't a race. It's a country.
I feel like they threw. I mean, I'm not like as diehard about it. Like sometimes the whitewashing thing can get a little over the top to me, like, but everything does. It's like you can make an overcorrection to try and find the middle ground. But it was noticeable how white everybody was, and then I kept like kind of cracking up every time they showed Toth, and I was like, oh, they're like, we got to throw it in one. Yeah. Not even that Egyptians are like truly black. I mean, most Egyptian people that I've seen are like, I don't know, similar to like anybody else that's located in the Mediterranean, like that area. Like they definitely didn't have that feel. But when you said at the beginning, Matt, that the director, whatever his name was, mentioned that he didn't want it. He didn't like say that it took place in ancient Egypt. I feel like that was almost a cop-out to be like, none of the people look Egyptian in this thing, so
gives him freedom to do whatever he wants.
Take place in Egypt.
Yeah,
everything about it is based off Egyptian like folklore and history, but It's not Egyptian.
That was my thing. They're using ancient Egyptian like god names, and they reference the Nile and all these other things. Like, okay,
the desert, the Sphinx, the pyramids that are crumbling,
like,
everything.
You can say whatever you want. Like,
Egypt?
What was that?
This took place in Egypt? I thought this was the Mississippi.
Yeah. Like, you could say whatever you want, be like, this doesn't take place on Earth or whatever, but like, you reference so much and just name it like what it is on Earth, except, you know, and then they kind of, I think he kind of gives you the big middle finger when you go up in space and visit Raw, and it's just, it's a flat Earth.
That's what, I was like, I actually went because like the totally legal version that you sent us.
Yes, very legal. It's fine.
It was a little like miscolored and discolored, and it was kind of hard to see that scene because it was so dark. And so I literally went and saw if I could Google that scene on YouTube, or I'll YouTube it. I guess not Google, even though they own it, whatever. But
same thing.
And to get a better view, and I'm like, that really is a flat Earth. And like, I was trying to figure out what he was fighting the whole time until the very end when he was like,
"Well, you can't
demon."
Good versions. Like, it's super cloudy. All you can see is his mouth.
Yeah, I think that's the only point.
What is that thing?
It's
like,
a giant space worm. I don't know.
He said at the end of the thing, he's like, take your sorcery and demonry or demon, whatever he said, like away from me. Like, apparently it was like, I don't know. It's essentially it felt like a big cloud of bad vibes that was about to hit Egypt. And he's like, no bad vibes. Like,
he's doing it on a daily basis too. Just only good vibes.
All the other things in this movie were kind of rooted in actual mythology, like the god names and stuff. Like, it's all real gods, but this giant freaking space worm.
And like, I don't know ancient Egyptian like mythology that much. Maybe that's a legit thing.
I mean, it might be, but
but man, to put it on screen and to see it is a trip. That is ridiculous. So
I liked it.
So it was. I mean, it was a
fight off this freaking space worm.
It was a cherry on top of how the ridiculousness.
I need to take care of something.
All right, I just want to bring up those things before diving into the plot of the lovely plot of this movie. What is that?
You just told the whole plot.
That's pretty much, yeah.
Gods fighting aliens.
Plots do not matter.
Each other.
Yeah, that's generally what happens with a movie is, you know, the plot doesn't matter. That's usually on the bottom tier of things.
The plot doesn't matter. The characters are whitewashed and we all move on.
You start putting in 15-foot humans that can just morph into like phoenixes and just start fighting each other. I'm like, forget it. This is it. This is Egyptian Fight Club. I'm in.
Yes. No, very.
Oh yeah,
very
you were talking about plot?
No, I mean, well, my thing with this is I feel like they add on something new every 10 minutes. Like, whenever I thought I had the plot figured out, they just took a turn and went, nope, we're adding this on here too. Like, well, by the end, you find out that Set's been killing these gods to get different parts of them to become like this ultimate god.
He was like ultimate Megatron.
Had no idea that was a thing until the last 30 minutes of this movie. Like,
right.
Unless I missed something.
No, it was also confusing too, because I did think about that he was like, all of a sudden at the end, he put Toast's brain and he put Osiris's heart in.
Yeah. And then
when he said that as long as gods are on his team or like on his side, he'll like let them live or whatever. But then he started killing all these gods to take their stuff away. And it's like, why don't you just do that from the beginning? Like, I don't get why all of a sudden now you're like, I'm going to become the super god.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just
wanted to unleash chaos.
Yeah, well, he really wanted to do it to become immortal, right? Like, I think that was the gist of it. He wanted to let the worm come down and like mix in the world of the living and the dead. Whatever. He wanted to do something and become immortal. You're a god. Like, I know they say like they don't live forever, but you're gonna live for probably a couple 100,000 years. I don't know what he's complaining about.
Oh, can we talk about how they brought up their blood was made of gold, and then every chance they got, you saw gold blood? Like,
oh yeah,
Every fucking fight scene, there was gold blood everywhere.
That's their way of getting around the R rating. Just we'll do gold instead of red, and it's not going to be as bloody and gruesome. So there you go.
We do have to ask ourselves though, after seeing that the like whole idea was like the better, like the gods acting individually and being more gods. Is this another Christian hit piece movie? Like more gods better than one god type of thing?
Is that our theme for movies? We're just finding like hit
Yeah,
pieces.
we're related. I actually was looking for, I was like, how can I relate this to Jurassic Park? And I just couldn't get there without a total stretch.
I totally forgot about that. I'll have to try to think of something by the end of this. Yeah, that's right. So no, like I don't think the plot was confusing at all, other than the fact that they just put on so much. They pile on things.
Constantly new things were added.
And, you know, it's just full of all these dumb tropes of like, oh, here's a jealous brother. And I know it's based on mythology, but like, oh, jealous brother, unhappy, blah, 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 let's get revenge. And the movie was just kind of dull to me. Like, there weren't consequences for anything.
Yeah, because you died and then you lived and then you lived. And...
Yeah, that's like, okay, like the main character's girl dies. Zaya. And then, yeah, Zaya. And then you think, oh, is she actually dead for a split second? But then it's like, no, we're going to bring her back to life. We just have to do this quest within a couple days or whatever. And then it's like, oh.
Or she goes through all 9 gates.
Yeah, whatever that means. And then you find out he was lying. You can't bring her back to life. So it's like, oh, is she actually dead? And then the main character dies, so they just, oh, they'll live happily ever after together, but in the afterlife? No, we're just going to bring them both back to life. And there, you know what I mean? Like, whenever like anything happened, there were no consequences for anything. It just, everything would end up fine for everyone. And it just was kind of boring to me. That's my biggest thing.
Matt wants to see people die and stay dead.
No, I want consequence. I want there to be meaning behind stuff.
After this podcast is over, you have to go and watch an episode of The Sopranos, the ultimate show where there is only consequences and there's literally no outs ever.
Very true. Or Game of Thrones, like Jaime Lannister, where people actually die in that show, and you know, and you have to pivot. So I don't know. That was just my thing. Like whenever they were met with like a crisis or something that they had to do, it was just too easy for them to get out of it. Like the riddle that they had to solve for the Sphinx.
Oh yeah, how many questions
he gave like 3 wrong answers before giving a right answer, and then the Sphinx is like, "Oh crap, you got it right. Guess you can go."
You can just be reading through a dictionary.
That was ridiculous.
This word, this word, this word.
Like you're the wise, you're the god of wisdom. You know everything. No riddle can stump you. It seemed like an easy ass riddle too. Like no one has been able to solve that riddle in years. Are you kidding me? Like, oh, it's tomorrow. The answer is tomorrow. Like, come on.
What was his first answer?
What did you say, Quinn?
No, not knowledge.
It was like justice or something.
No, it wasn't. I thought it started with an O. I keep on wanting to say opportunity, but it wasn't that.
I don't know. What I mean, Quinn, you seem to be backing this movie a lot. What were some of your favorite parts of the movie?
All of them. Sorry, I answered for you, Quinn.
It literally was all uppers. There was no doubt.
Nobody died. Everybody had a good old time.
Yeah, it's just entertainment. What do you want? It's not an Academy Award movie. It's not going to move you. It's not going to change. Do you like eating donuts? Do you like eating donuts, Matt?
I'll say yes, and we'll see where this goes. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I do.
You know they're not good for you. You know there's no plausible way you should ever eat a donut in your life, but you enjoy every bite of that donut. Do you remember all the donuts that you eat? No. You're not going to remember this movie, but you enjoyed every step of the way, and you move on. It's not going to change your life. It's probably something you shouldn't have consumed, but you enjoyed every bit of it, and then you move on. That's what this movie is. It's a donut.
That's a way to get around.
It's a donut. Yeah, it's a fucking 0. You're right. It is a fucking donut.
It could be a donut hole or a long john. It just depends on your flavor.
Bear claw.
Bear claw. I like jelly-filled donuts. I like the snake part. That was pretty entertaining.
Oh my god!
It's out of nowhere, so random. No idea where they. Hey, who are these chicks? What are their names? Doesn't matter. Giant snakes, 3D.
I like how what sets like one of his guys fails to capture them, so then these two ladies are like, "You should have sent us. Like we know what we're doing." Nope. Like one scene. No, you're done too. Like we're gonna.
And he also insinuated that they had a threesome.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I know what you get. I know you guys know what you're doing."
Well, I noticed Matt saying when the guy failed, which I think was that goofy dude that we're talking about, the guy that changes to his like morphed self and never comes back, and then he beheads him or whatever. I don't know, when they say that you should have let it up to be us, and there is, I think, one black girl, one white girl. The white girl is disturbing looking. Like,
yeah, she's emaciated.
Scary.
She needs some food.
Like, yeah, oh my god, it looked like she literally didn't even look like she needed food. She just looked like she needed to lay off a needle for a little while or something. Like, it was she did her job perfect, because she looked creepy and she had a 1,000-mile stare that was just off in the distance, and her really transparently pale skin. I was like, that is just somebody I would not like to see in an alleyway. But then regarding the snakes, I thought it was hilarious that, like, at the beginning they kept it kind of realistic. Like, there was elephants pulling, like, to help for building the things, whatever they're building, the monuments and stuff. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden these dragon snakes show up, and it's like, how do we go from completely realistic animals? I really feel like at one point this director was
beetles, like, dude, where?
I feel like this director was 40% of the way through the movie, and somebody, their like accountant for the movie, whatever that person's role is, was like,
$100 million left.
You only spent 15% of your budget. And he's like, oh, forget it. We're getting dragon snakes now. And just throwing them out
enough
there.
for two of them, like, too. Let's do this.
Obviously, nothing was realistic about this movie, but like there seemed like a point where it went from like just the gods being unrealistic and like the beautiful settings looked really cool and all that. But like it went from that to just like, we are throwing in everything that makes no sense right now.
When you said this was only 140 million, I was like, that seems low.
That's pretty high for movies.
It's all CGI. Like the whole freaking thing is CGI.
I think.
If you consider Iron Man got that same budget, that's got to be pretty high.
Yeah, that's pretty high for a budget for a movie. Like if you're putting that much money into a movie, you're expecting triple the return. Like most movies, I'd say like an average budget for films is in that like $50 to $60 million range. If you're over 100 mil, that's a ton of money. You're like they are expecting triple the return. So the fact that this got 140 is telling. That
yeah, Bo, you're right. The white lady looks like
you went back and looked.
Yeah, she doesn't look like she's healthy.
Yeah, she's a little bit horrifying.
Needs to lay off the needle, as you say.
That's a very impolite way to say it. I'm sure she's a lovely person in real life, but she played that role very, very well.
But if I were to say what I'm gonna say, I'd say she needs to lay off the needle.
If I could guess what drug she was maybe on if she was acting.
I'm not gonna say it, but if I were to say she was really doing method acting with her character, I would say you need to lay off the needle a little bit more.
I'd say it rhymes with barreling.
So yeah, one character I haven't talked about because that's how much I cared about it. The main character, Beck.
Main character, part D.
Yeah. I just hate it in movies when they just make the lead character like the luckiest person in the world.
Yeah.
They even made a joke about it.
Yeah, they like, and acknowledging it, I don't think excuses that, like the fact that they did it. Like what Horus's eye is in Set's temple and no one can break in, or this normal person
Yeah, but he doesn't believe in gods, Matt. He's not about the gods.
Again,
Even though he sees them on a daily basis.
I know, but it's like he doesn't praise the gods.
Yeah. But like he can still leap rocks while they're falling and.
Yeah, how did he not break any bones in this movie? There are some falls he takes, and I'm like, he dead.
Yeah. Well, as you know, he definitely was dodging all those swords that were swinging in the temple when he was originally reading
when did he all of a sudden become this awesome, like, ninja guy?
Dude, he went to Jackie Chan's academy. He was all over it, just flipping and tumbling. He's good to go.
I guess. I'm surprised his hair didn't get cut at all because it's super long.
That would have been like a moment. Well, I mean, they had the moment where the blades came up right at the end, right close to his throat. But you're saying theory, Quinn, like you would have saw like a blade come and just buzz past his hair and
like the zoom in where it just cuts two hairs and they fall off.
Motion.
Or his extreme hops in the other temple that he automatically just like gets through no problem.
Jumps through the opening, right? I think when they're getting like to Set's tomb or whatever, when not his tomb, but like where the
fire in the desert bullshit was, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have an order of things, man, but while we're talking about like when they're trying to get into Set's tomb, I completely forgot for like 30 minutes after he had given Horace his eye back that's what they were even going to do. It's like so much happened between that gap that also like, by the way, we should still go to the tomb. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what they were originally going to do. Like, why is this like, it was like, they went on this wild, extravagant thing. And all of a sudden, like 30 minutes later, like Horace is like, you're still going to take me to the tomb, right? I was like, that's right. That's
right. Like he even forgot in that moment too. The actor's like, oh yeah, that's right. That's what we're doing. Yeah, let's go do that. That's
they had to have this whole other subplot with the undead area, like the purgatory, essentially with Anubis. Like they had that whole other subplot in there that was totally like, why?
Yeah, where the rich get to go to the afterlife and the poor do not. I mean, they fixed it in the end, but
all she had was a ring.
Yeah. They fixed it in the end, but I was just like, oh, cool. All right. That makes sense. Rich get richer. But I didn't have like an order of what we want to talk about. It was just like open chat. Like if there are parts that you wanted to talk about, go for it. Even if we're starting at the end and going back to the beginning, because that's how I felt like this movie was every once in a while too. Yeah, I don't know. Like this movie is tough for me to like judge or talk about a whole lot because like to me it's fine. Like I know I've talked about it in like not a great light, but I watched it now. I'm never gonna think about this movie ever again.
Dude, it's a Kyle Hendricks fastball, just 89 miles per hour. It's gonna be placed fine. It could be smashed, but really, like, he's got off-speed pitches that are his best pitch. It's just very, like, middle.
The Donut comparison was much better than your baseball comparison.
Yeah, you're right. You don't give a shit about baseball, so that was not going to work with you.
No.
I got it. It's like watching Pat Connaughton take a three-pointer. It's like, he's electric. You'll love him. It might go in. It might not. It's not like watching Sterling Brown take a three recently, which is a guaranteed flop. Or like smooth shooter like Middleton take a three. It's just like a guy that you want to be good. You like him. He misses you, like, that's all right. Good for you.
I think Pat Connaughton's probably the right call too, because whitewash, right? Like it's the white guy.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly subliminal thoughts.
I had to. It was a layup. We're doing more basketball puns. Like it was a layup. It was right there for me. I had to say it. What was that?
I like my donut comparison personally, but
that's because you came up with it, Quinn.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Matt? If you can't support your own theories, then who is?
That's true. Got to have your own back.
I do kind of think that it got muddy as like the end of the movie. Like all of a sudden,
there's too much going on.
Yeah, it definitely took a turn where I was like, I think I started doing dishes towards the end of the movie. Like I was watching it, but it was easy enough to follow along at that point. And all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, I just missed like 30 seconds and suddenly Raw is back in. Like, yeah. I'm like, wait a minute, go back. And then suddenly like it was Horace and Set fighting like at the top of Set's like monument that he built.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, instead of fighting him, he's now fighting Beck. And I'm like, wait a minute, how did Beck just show up? Like, I didn't even realize that Beck like threw that thing and pulled his spear away. And like,
and that was another moment too, where like to me it was like too easy for him to get out of the whole situation, because the whole movie, Horace is like, I need both my eyes. And then
I don't need my eyes.
Yeah, and then
all along I didn't need both.
Yeah, exactly, right. And then Beck throws him the second eye. He doesn't go for it. He saves Beck, even though you probably could have gotten the eye and then flown and saved Beck afterwards. But whatever.
I was wondering that. So I know, like, and I don't even know if it was really well explained to me. Maybe I missed the part where originally he loses his ability to fly, and then he prays to Ra. Ra gives him the flight back to and from him.
Yeah.
And then he says you're never going to be able to fly again. He's only granting him that ability to get to and from. But then when they're falling off that thing, suddenly he has the ability to fly again.
And that's what I'm talking about. Where it's like it's too easy, like convenient for them to get out of the situation. So Ra told him you won't be able to fly again until you like get your second eye or reach your full potential or whatever. And the whole time, all he says is you need both your eyes. And then at the end, he flies again without the second eye. And it's just, turns out I didn't need it at all. I just thought I did, but I didn't. I'm like, oh. The thing is, I actually like some of the movies this guy's directed. He directed iRobot, Will Smith movie. I don't know if you remember.
Dark City.
That wasn't some. You kept referring to him in the beginning as like some dude, like this guy.
The name I don't recognize.
When you were saying that, I was like, is this guy just pulled off the street? Like, Matt's talking about this guy like he's worthless. And I'm like, is he never? They just gave him like, here's $200 million. Go make a movie about Egyptian gods.
Well, I will say he was coming off of Knowing, that Nicolas Cage garbage movie. So there probably was a little bit of that there, but he made iRobot, which is good. Dark City, which is awesome. Which that's why Rufus, whatever the fuck his name is probably the lead from Dark City, who was like the slave owner in this movie. That's probably why he was in it. And The Crow, which is good too. The Crow and Dark City are back-to-back fantastic movies. And then he did
get on a hot streak, man.
Yeah, that two-game winning streak. No,
he started off just right, because then he did good films, and then he got $190 million budget.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm making this ball-ass film. What if this was his passion project? This was his his meta.
My childhood. This is how I envisioned my childhood in Egypt.
All right, good, bad, or garbage. I'm going with bad. Like, it's not garbage. Like, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm not gonna call it good though.
It's not good. It's entertaining.
You just spent how long?
Yeah, I really thought Quinn was going good.
Quinn.
I really thought Quinn was going good.
I thought you were going to say good. You just spent... Were you just defending it to defend it, or what?
Watch it once. You can watch it once and then forget about it. It's not... Okay. It's good in the fact that it's very entertaining. You're not going to be bored watching it. But it's not going to move you. You're not going to remember it.
No. You can do dishes while doing it, while watching it.
I mean, apparently you can, but at the same time, I said that I really
got to rewind it
at the end of the movie, so maybe you can't do dishes while you're watching it.
That's true.
If you got surround sound and a 4K TV and some drinks and stuff, it's entertaining.
It's like the shiny thing that entertains you, right?
Yeah, it's shiny.
Looks good, but when you look at like the plot and all that's like it's not there. So
yeah, I was kind of stuck between good and bad, because I do think, and I actually almost don't agree with Clint when he said you could watch it once. I almost want to watch it again, like just because, not now, like not right now, but like I could tell Maria like we should just watch this because it is ridiculous. Because she asked me, she came home and she's like, "How was the movie when I was watching it?" And I was like, I don't know, but like it is over the top. I like almost need to watch it again to figure out what is like. And this was towards the end too, so like I'd like finished washing dishes, so I probably had missed like 25 minutes of important stuff that would have outlined some stuff that I was questioning. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna lean towards. I think I'll end up calling it bad, but I honestly don't. That's like the.
You were gonna say good.
I don't think so because the plot lines were like pretty terrible or cheesy and didn't make sense, but the action and like the CGI was cool. Like they did some things right that at least kept it entertaining enough that if someone was like, "Hey, you want to watch Gods of Egypt with me?" and they were gonna watch it for the first time, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll watch it with you," even though I've seen it. But I don't know if somebody asked me like, "Hey, what's a random movie I've never seen that I should watch?" I don't think Gods of Egypt would probably pop up on my list.
I would probably not recommend you this one. Like what? Okay, so let's go back through. What are the movies we've watched?
Super Mario Brothers.
Well, Quinn, you and I first did Star
Way
Wars.
better than that. What's that?
You and I first did Star Wars, the holiday special.
It's so much better than that.
I do agree it's better than that. And then the first one we did, the three of us, was Drunken Master. It's not better than that.
Not better.
For me.
No, it's not better than that.
What would you guys give that though for like a
score?
Yeah.
Drunken Master. I've got my Excel here of movies with scores. I'm just trying to get to a point where.
Okay, so if you think of it that way, like Star Wars is probably the worst movie we've watched.
Yeah, maybe. So it was the 3 Jackie Chan movies, and then was it Super Mario Brothers right after?
No,
Velocipaster.
Velocipaster, the Super Mario Brothers movie,
and then Troll Hunter.
Yeah.
So this one better than
the Star Wars movie. I think is the worst one.
Yeah, I think you're right. Bo didn't see that one, but I think that you're probably right.
Garbage.
Better than Super Mario Brothers.
I'd probably say it's better. Like, it's probably if you look at just quality of movie, it's better. I think Super Mario Brothers, but like Super Mario Brothers is like so bad that like it's funny to watch it almost.
That's like Velocipaster.
And it leaves more of an impression on you, whereas like this is like I'm never gonna think about this movie ever again.
I think Legend of the Drunken Master and Velocipaster are the only 2 movies that I clear-cut above it. If someone's gonna say, "Here's the 3 movies, which one should I watch?" I would say Legend of the Drunken.
I liked Critical or Strike Force.
First Strike. I was
fine with it. I think First Strike would have been close to this.
I actually think all 3 Jackie Chan movies are better.
I don't think Rumble in the Bronx is better. I don't like Rumble in the Bronx.
Not good.
That is the one out of the 3 that it's close, but those movies are so short and.
Yeah, I mean, that's an advantage. It's like someone's like, I have an hour. Someone is like, I have 43 minutes to waste. Be like, oh, you could watch all of the credits in the entire movie of Velocipaster. Just go.
Do we want to do the rotating? Someone picks. Quinn was Troll Hunter. Well, yeah. I was Super Mario Brothers. Quinn was Troll Hunter. Bo was this to an extent. I was gonna pick a live watch of Small Soldiers.
Oh yeah, let's do that one.
You picked. Quinn had his last week.
Small Soldiers is awesome. Let's do that one. Well, in my head, it was awesome.
Yeah, and that's what's gonna be. That's why I think this is a really good. Okay, and I think I'll be able to find it. And that's why I think this would be a good live watch. It's because I think we've all seen it. Bo, have you seen Small Soldiers?
I think I have.
The toys that come to life.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know what it is about, so that's why I think I know what it is. But I don't know if I've watched it since.
Okay, but like
whatever. I was a child.
It'll be kind of a nostalgic thing, so like, we don't need to pay attention to it. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's a great idea.
I already recognize the screenshots of it, so I have seen it.
Okay.
All right, I gotta get some sleep.
Okay.
I'll see you guys later.
See you guys later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.